So let's see. I think everything is working. At least, did I share my screen? Yes, I did. Great. So audio also seems to be working. Let's get started. Um, I'm going back one slide. So Zabbix, predicting your future. Well, trend prediction, that's what we are going to cover today. As you probably have seen at this point, your microphones are muted, which does not mean that you should or cannot ask any questions. We've got a Q&A section for it. So if you've got any questions, simply open up Q&A and throw them in there, and I will try to answer it. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Brian van Bakel, working as a Zabbix trainer consultant at Opensource ICT Solutions. And we are a Zabbix partner in the Netherlands, United Kingdom, United States. Unlike other Zabbix partners, Zabbix is not a side gig, it is our core business. We focus on this product. It's the only thing that we do. 24/7, we are playing around with, well, all the lovely, lovely features of Zabbix. You might also think at this point, yeah, but wait, Zabbix, open source, free, so how do you make a living? Well, good question. We try to make a living out of selling services. So please give me a few moments to do some advertisements, and then we jump into the actual topic. So services it is. We can upgrade your Zabbix instance from a very old version to the latest version. We can build some custom integrations with, I don't know, a ticketing system, a CMDB, or whatever tool. We can, and I really enjoy this one, we can build completely from scratch your Zabbix environment. And currently we are a bit busy with PRDG migrations into Zabbix, and hopefully in a few weeks or months, SolarWinds, but Greenfield is also perfectly fine. So that's for us always great fun to play around with. Building custom templates, doing some remote troubleshooting. 60 to 70% of my day-to-day job is consultancy services. And then, of course, we've got official technical support and all official trainings. Regarding the trainings, we've got 4 different levels that we offer. Certified user, 1-day training. Certified specialist, 5-day training. Professional is a 3-day training. And then last but not least, the expert training, which is 5 days, by the way. Schedule is available on our website. So go there, you will see the prices, you will see our training schedule. You register, we return a sales quote, and then if agreed on, let's start the training. So really nice way to kickstart your knowledge. But still, if monitoring is important for your company, it might be interesting to, well, explore the support options. And since Zabbix is fully open source, this is absolutely not mandatory. You can simply use it without any limitations. But what if, well, problems arise or your configuration is not working as expected or things like that? Well, in that case, support can be extremely valuable. And we've got different support options. So on the screen, we've got the most affordable option, which is Silver. And Silver got a support availability of office hours and a maximum number of incidents of 8 per year. Okay. Then we've got another tier, Gold. Still office hour support, but unlimited number of incidents. And price-wise, this might be one of the best options. Bit more expensive, but you get a bit more options as well. It's Platinum, and the biggest difference, 24/7 support. And we are not offloading support. We are not using offshore teams or whatsoever. You simply call us 24/7, and we are available to, well, help you out within the SLA agreements. Enterprise, many different options are added in the enterprise version or the enterprise subscription. And if you check on our website, oicts.com/support, the list pricing is available. And you will see that there is a steep price increase between Platinum and Enterprise. And of course, the question is how to justify that. Well, here we go. For Silver, Gold, Platinum, you pay per Zabbix server, you pay per Zabbix proxy. For Enterprise, unlimited number is included. Not only an unlimited number of servers or proxies are included, also 40 hours of consultancy, 1 certified user, 1 certified specialist, 1 certified professional training. And then it is just, well, doing the calculations to figure out which of the options is a better deal. To give you an idea, we've got one customer in the Netherlands using Enterprise with just 50 Zabbix servers. Well, take the price of the Enterprise contract, divided by 50 servers. It's a very, very good deal. Last but not least, we've got Global One. Global One, if you've got multiple companies around the globe and you would like to have them covered in one single support contract, that's what this one is meant for. And the idea, of course, is, well, more trainings, more consultancy, 20 man days of the integration and development teams, some Zabbix Summit tickets included, etc. Quite expensive, but again, if you do the math, it can be perfectly fine. Enterprise customer is that 1 server, 49 proxies. No, they've got 50 Zabbix servers and no proxies. A bit of a strange setup, but yeah, makes sense for their situation. Okay, enough advertisement. Let's actually jump into the topic. Trend prediction, right? Okay. What are we going to do here? Well, we are using Zabbix to predict what a value will be somewhere in the future, or how much time we've got left. We've got 2 different functions for it. The forecast function, and that's gonna, well, calculate the value somewhere in the future, and the time left function, which is gonna tell us how much time there is left till we meet a certain threshold. And I'm talking here about functions, which is kind of important because those prediction functions are trigger functions. We can alert, we should use it as alerting mechanism, problem mechanism within Zabbix. So we let it do its magic. Well, magic? No, not really magic. For me, and I'm not that smart, it is kind of magic. But actually it is just statistics that are calculated by Zabbix. It's no magic at all. And at the end of the webinar, I do have a link with the justification how this one is actually working. Since it is just statistics, we are using historical values only, no trend values. And to make clear what the difference is, historical values or history, all data points that came in. Trend values, an aggregated value, calculated once per hour regarding the previous hour. And that one contains basically at a min, a max, and an average of the previous hour. Well, doing statistics on the minimum or the maximum or the average in 1 hour, that's a really, really bad idea. Hence, Zabbix is only using historical values. And that's exactly how it should be, if you ask me. I mentioned already that we are talking about functions, trigger functions. And on the screen, you can see exactly what's going on here. So we've got an item, and this item is showing us the space utilization of file system slash. And we can see that this one is growing and growing and growing. And at some point, we get a problem. In 30 minutes, more than 85% of the space will be utilized on file system slash. That's exactly what trend prediction is about. So currently, and we can see that in the operational data, currently only 20.5% is utilized, but it's going to tell us, well, if it continues to grow in this rate, within 30 minutes, we've got the util of more than 85%, which I think is pretty nice, because before it is actually 100% utilized, we get this notification already and we can act on it, try to fix things. So this is, well, really proactively monitoring stuff and getting alerted on. Okay, trigger functions. Again, trigger functions. How to configure this? And this is the point where it might become a little bit complicated, especially if there is no explanation whatsoever. There are some strange options here. Let's go over them. So we are talking about the trigger function forecast, and we open it with parentheses / the host name of the host involved, the item key where this calculation should be done on, and then comma, we start using the parameters. The first one, evaluation period, so the number of seconds or hours or minutes or whatever you provide, or the number of values with that hash sign. So this is the evaluation period. Then we can add some time shifting, and I really do not recommend to use it because it's complicating things. As the next parameter, time, that's the forecasting horizon. Then fit, so specific function to use in those statistics, and a mode, the demanded output. If we start looking at the example here, we can see forecast. We are looking at the host Zabbix server, item key VFS FS size, and then file system / percentage used. We take in account an evaluation period of 14 days, and we would like to forecast 30 minutes. So from this moment, from now, we take in account the last 14 days and then try to predict what the value will be in 30 minutes. If the outcome of this calculation is above 85, then go into the problem state. That's how we should read this. And the example here, commonly used, but especially those parameters, so just an evaluation period and a forecasting horizon and nothing else, really, really common. The other option, time left. And I moved to the next slide already. Minor changes in the parameters, but the idea is still the same. Time left, parentheses, / hostname / item key, evaluation period, option to time shift, then a threshold, and in this case, 1 gig, because in the example we are once again looking at the file system, and a fit for a custom function. Example, time left. We are looking for the host or at the host Zabbix server. We are looking at this item key, VFS FS size, file system /3, so the free disk space for /. We take again in account 14 days, but now we tell Zabbix, because of the function time left, tell me how much time there is left until there is just 1 gigabyte of free disk space. If the outcome of this calculation is less than 1 hour, go into the problem state, because then we know within 1 hour there is less than 1 gigabyte of free disk space. Once again, a really common scenario to build it like this. But how useful is this? Because it are triggers, right? So it tells me when there is a problem, or when there will be a problem, but I cannot visualize it. It are triggers. It's in the OK or in the problem state. Well, actually, we can visualize it. How? Calculated items. So if we look at this graph here, we've got a green item and it's only visible on the right side, but we've got a green item, space utilization on file system /. And in red, the calculated percentage, 30 minutes ahead of now. So this is a predictive thing going on. Okay, then we can see that in some moment in time, the utilization goes up. And we see it jumping here already, well, a tiny bit, but then it keeps on increasing and increasing and increasing. That's great, actually, because then the prediction is starting to work as well. And we can see that that one is rising. Ah, that's a bit weird what's going on, because it seems to be completely off, right? Here we have got the utilization of, I don't know, 20-ish%, 18, 19%, something like that. But the prediction here is telling me that it is over 100% already. That's impossible. Well, actually, over 100% is indeed impossible. But what is going on here is that the calculation is done right now, showing the value in 30 minutes. So you actually should add 30 minutes on it, and then you know when you hit that 100%. That's the limitation there. The calculation is done right now for a value somewhere in the future. How to get this going, how to configure this? Really straightforward. That same trigger function, simply thrown into the formula of item key calculated. And that's literally what I do when I need to configure this. I'm not going to type it. Sorry. I'm not going to type it. I'm not going to memorize it. I simply create a new trigger, configure everything, copy that function, and throw it into a calculated item. We give it some sort of key, which can be everything as long as it is unique. And then in the formula, we throw in the trigger function. Bam, it works. And since this is an item, we get those nice graphs out of it. I love it, because now we can actually see what's going on. Is this always working? Who knows? Who knows? Look at this. By the way, the color is green, but this is a calculated item. This is a trend prediction. What's going on? It looks definitely weird. Here we get a horizontal line. Then it's going up, goes down again, going up. It comes back to a horizontal line, and it's really weird. Is it? Below the command well through do dd if etc. This is what I was playing around with. So I was writing, well, random stuff to my disk space or to my disk so that the calculation was going to show something. And actually the calculation or the prediction is showing something, but yeah, sometimes I stop that command for a bit and then I start it again. And it is predicting, well, here it is growing again. It's predicting it will grow massively. And then I stop that command way before it was actually grown. So it looks really strange. And of course, you hopefully do not see this too often in a real life scenario, but sometimes it is just hard to predict things. And I've got a nice screenshot in a bit for that. Best practices recommendation comments. I completely skipped over the fit parameter because we've got different functions here, different ideas, different types of data that are useful for it. So if we leave that fit parameter completely empty, it's going to be the function linear, which is default, works, well, brilliantly if you ask me. If you've got some sort of curved data, go for a polynomial fit. If you've got up-down data, so 0 or 1, go for power. And for peak detection, exponential fit. Again, statistics, so kind of complicated for me. I simply create multiple items to see, well, which one works the best for the data that I'm working with. Okay. Another comment on this one, all values used for forecasting time left are stored in the value cache. Is that problematic? No, not at all. Is that something to keep in mind? Yes. The value cache can grow up to, or you are allowed to increase it up to 64 GB. So you've got plenty of options here. However, what if you have 10 or 15,000 predicted items, calculated items, or even those trigger functions, taking in account 2 weeks of historical data? All that historical data for the past 2 weeks are stored into the value cache. And if you have just 1 or 2 items, it should be fine, no problem. What if you've got 10,000 of those items and you try to keep 2 weeks of historical data in an in-memory cache? Then you need to increase that cache, obviously. Again, not too problematic, but something to keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind, and I really think this is common sense, think about the evaluation period and the forecasting period. Common sense is the trick here. Unreliable if we do this. Forecast, Zabbix server, percentage use disk space on file system / take in account 1 hour of historical data and calculate or predict what it will be in 1 year. Zabbix will do this. I mean, no problem whatsoever, but it's completely useless. We take in account 1 hour of historical data to, well, see what's going on in a year. That's not going to work. The other way around is also not really what you want. Forecast, Zabbix server, percentage used, again on file system / we take in account 1 year of historical data and calculate what it will be in 30 minutes. Again, Zabbix will make that calculation, no problem whatsoever. But what happens if you had a steep increase in the last 10 minutes? Yeah, nothing. 10 minutes on a full year of historical data, that's not significant at all. But at the same time, in 20 minutes, your disk will be full. So then this function is again kind of useless. Common sense, there is a sweet spot. It really depends on how your data looks like. But both examples are, well, useless. Another thing that's kind of useless, to predict certain metrics. And I love this one, CPU load on a Linux system. And well, here it started with basically 0, sure. Then the CPU load starts increasing and the forecasting starts to forecast what it will be in some point. Sure thing. It's forecasting that it's gonna rise up to, well, 5-ish, 4.9. Sure, that's plausible. And then it's forecasting that it will go down, but yeah, it was rather high, it's going down, and if that line continues, it will become a negative value. And it's going to show me, and it's going to tell me that the minimum value will be minus 2.1 CPU load. Well, if this was possible, I would have been the richest guy in the world. A CPU load can never be below 0. But Zabbix has no idea of that limitation or how that works. It is just doing statistics on some sort of metrics, and that's it. So yeah, predict CPU load. Technically it works. Screenshot is shared, but it makes no sense. Last slide. Actually, yeah, almost last slide, and I'm going to see if I can open this. Prediction documentation is kind of well, somewhat missing in the documentation itself. I think it was included recently, but on the actual ZBX, the bug report about it, there is a nice PDF, and this PDF created by the developer of this lovely feature. It's kind of old, 2021. But here we have got the full justification of what actually is going on with this feature. And yeah, this is written in English, so I kind of understand it. Once we start talking about trigger functions, I'm also perfectly fine. We got some nice graphs here explaining what's going on. Sure thing. Here it's getting a little bit more complicated, but at the same time, this is Zabbix, well, trigger syntax. So I'm able to understand this. But at some point, the guy is, well, extremely helpful explaining the actual calculations. And this is where I get lost. However, if you are smart enough to understand this, here is the justification. And I still remember the point where I mentioned during the trainer training, you know, this is complicated for me. And that guy at that point, he was in the training room. He grabbed a whiteboard and he said, well, that linearization is really straightforward, Brian. Let me, well, make the drawings and show you here how easy it is. And I was extremely happy with my cup of coffee. So the guy could, well, do whatever he was good at. And I could enjoy my coffee because, well, I was completely lost. Nevertheless, it is documented right now. The PDF is still available in ZPX 19043, including the full justification. Okay, this is the last thing I actually had, because it's well, kind of straightforward to configure this. If you've done it once, you get how it works, and it is really, really straightforward. So in the Q&A, there are a few questions. Will these slides be available afterwards? Actually, when I started the webinar, I heard that there is a recording in progress. So please give me some time. I will try to throw it on YouTube, and then on that YouTube video, I will also try to post the link to the slides. So if you find us on YouTube and it's, well, just let me open up YouTube, just find open source IST solutions. There we go. Find us on YouTube. It will be there at some point. And I think the previous one is not there yet, but yeah, I will upload this. Do we have any questions? Can the predictions work for items that have discard unchanged values? No, because the discarding happens way before the trigger is actually evaluated. So if you discard the value at that point, yeah, triggers are not evaluated, and this trick does not work. And I think that was all there was in the Q&A for now. So if there are any other questions, feel free to throw them in the Q&A and I will try to answer them. If there are no questions, well, I'm going to end the webinar in a bit. So thank you for joining. Hopefully you got something out of it. And we've got quite a few other webinars scheduled as well. All of them, of course, can be joined completely free. So go ahead, register yourself, and well, hopefully see you somewhere in a future webinar. What are the common challenges when using Zabbix for predictive monitoring, and how can they be addressed? Common challenges: we don't know what kind of data is coming in. We use a wrong function, or we try to predict something that's unpredictable. I don't know, memory usage can normally be predicted, and it's extremely useful for finding memory leaks. At the same time, if an application is started, stopped every single time, then it becomes kind of hard to do the prediction. How to address this? And yeah, know the data you're working with. That's the only solution, basically. Okay, let me end this webinar. Once again, thank you for joining.